Hey everybody, KMO here with another Out of My Head video. Look how long my hair has gotten, isn't it crazy? And it's, not only will it not go forward, it stands up, but it doesn't stand up uniformly. Time to shave it all off again. Well, probably won't happen until I'm not house sitting anymore. I'll do it when I'm back in my place. So, I just put up an episode of the C-Realm podcast. It is episode number 549, imaginatively titled Chatting with Liam, because my guest on the radio show this past Sunday was Liam Madden, somebody who first contacted me via YouTube, but he lives, I don't remember if he lives in Bellows Falls proper, but he lives nearby. He's from this area. Went to Bellows Falls Union High School, although now he's in his 30s. So we had a talk on the radio the other day, which was kind of a follow-up conversation to a private one-on-one chat that we had at a coffee shop that was not recorded. But I sort of summarized a little bit of it at the beginning of this most recent episode of the C-Realm podcast. So if this is a topic that is of interest to you, go check out that podcast. But here's the topic. What leads? Technology or consciousness? Do we need to change our consciousness? Do we need to elevate or expand our consciousness in order to navigate more adroitly into an uncertain future, to achieve better outcomes at the societal level? Or does consciousness lag behind other factors, say laws, events, technology? And I didn't realize this going into this conversation with Liam, the first one we had at the coffee shop, but I used to be pretty enamored with the idea that humans, if we could just change the way we think, the way we perceive, the way we relate to one another, in short, if we could change our consciousness, that we would, as a result, achieve better effects at the societal level. There would be a sort of emergent, bottom-up, just flowering of human prosperity as a result of our improved consciousness. But maybe it's the other way around. Maybe our consciousness will expand when we are no longer, so stressed out all the time. Stressed out about money, stressed out about social status, stressed out about all manner of manufactured scarcity, including the scarcity of human contact, which is absurd given how many of us there are, a scarcity of money, a scarcity of access to medical care. I mean, all kinds of scarcities are manufactured. In fact, the originator of the phrase fully automated luxury communism, whose name I can't bring to mind, but I started to watch a video interview with him where he was talking about how, one of the purposes of capitalism is to create scarcity, to basically rein in the abundance that technology naturally creates for us. And it does create enormous abundance. One way to create artificial scarcity is just to channel all of the increased abundance to the very top of the social hierarchy. So there is a vast, vast increase in wealth, but most of it is captured by a tiny elite. And they have so much they couldn't possibly spend it all. So they do things like buy newspapers or create rocket companies and, go to the Mars and the moon and things like that. Those are among the more admirable things that the super wealthy do with their money. But I guess the point is this. Are we going to improve our material situation by improving our consciousness, or will our consciousness naturally move to a better state? Transfer or transform into something different and clearly preferable as a result of technological abundance and material abundance and just the sensation that we are no longer beleaguered and oppressed and afflicted with scarcity. Which comes first, the end of scarcity or the end of scarcity consciousness? People who are wealthy or people who are selling the idea that anybody can become wealthy often blame poor people for their scarcity consciousness. But, somebody who comes from privation, they have every reason to have a scarcity consciousness. So it's sort of like the theme of the Barbara Ehrenreich book, which I haven't read, but I've heard interviews with her, and I think I get the gist. The book is called Bright-Sided. Basically, part of the American psyche and culture is to not only look on the bright side, not only to take a sort of blinkered, optimistic view, but also to blame people for failing to manifest the abundance that naturally flows from a consciousness of abundance, a belief of abundance, a belief that the universe is here to provide you with everything you need. If you don't have everything you need in such a universe, it's your fault. So says the American business-friendly, can-do psyche. And it's a powerful psyche, which has done a lot of good. But at the same time, to continue doing what it does, it has to hold back. It has to prevent this transition to a new state of consciousness by withholding much of the gifts that technology, much of the abundance that technology would just naturally provide to the people living in this civilization. So not a clear thesis there, other than these days I am friendlier to the idea that consciousness trails behind technology. I read this book, or I listened to the audiobook, I should say. It was called The Fourth Age, and it was largely about artificial intelligence, but the author was talking about how there are the different ages of human civilization that are based on technologies. And the hunter-gatherer technology, the hunter-gatherer society, was the result, and the consciousness that accompanies it, was the result of speech and fire. Fire allows us a greater variety of foods that we can eat. It makes things that wouldn't otherwise be edible by us edible. And speech allows us to coordinate our actions. Humans, a group of humans who cannot make plans and coordinate, and then go after a mammoth as one, they are no threat. A collection of 10 individuals who don't coordinate their actions is no threat to a mammoth. But 10 individuals with spears, brains, and the ability to spin scenarios about how they are going to approach this collective goal, well, my money's on the humans every time. The group, any one human or more might be killed in this endeavor, but the mammoth is definitely not the odds-on favorite. So the second age was defined by farming and literacy. And it wasn't widespread literacy. It was a very, it was a small group of scribes who, did the king's bidding basically, and kept track of who owed who what, and who had, paid taxes, and who had given forth the, some sons for conscription or whatever. Things needed to be tallied up. And once you get a scribe class and you get agriculture, so you've got a surplus and you've got the opportunity for the division of labor, then you're going to get a whole new level of complexity. You're going to get a whole new style of civilization, and along with it comes a new style of human consciousness. So as you add technologies which allow more complexity, more diversity of job roles, more diversity of ways of interacting with the environment and with the larger society, you're going to get a wider variety of conscious states, and you're going to get different conscious states that people at lower levels of technological development just never or rarely achieved. So that's my current thinking on which comes first, consciousness or technology. What do you think? I will talk to you again tomorrow. Stay well.